Often a culture becomes a portion of your identity, an anchor that is deeply rooted in our personality and way of life. Not simply where an ancestor has come from, but who we are as a person. When you become deeply embedded in a cultural way of life, it can be difficult to look outside of yourself. The positives and the negatives become intertwined, blinding our perspectives, making it impossible to find humor inside of ourselves. One day, you will see your culture from an elevated position, seeing the good, the bad, and the funny, allowing you to appreciate all the intricate details that your heritage has to offer. I'm Kevin Donaldson, always here with Mike Felice, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you, because that's what we do here, and that's the stories that we highlight. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new content, and now you can join. And of course, follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to when we're up to it. We have a returning guest, and it's a guy who I'm very excited with. I follow his career intensely, and that is Mike Marino, to talk about the suffering of being Italian.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me come back. This is great. I love being here. You're a great guy, and I'm
kind of disappointed last November because I don't listen. We stay away from politics on this show, and I endorsed Mike Marino in 2024. He swore he was going to make America Italian again, and we just fell a little bit short. Close though.
Well, you know what happened was I was really close. But at the time when they would count the votes, that time when they count the votes, I was on a cruise ship and I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't get back in time.
I think a couple Chads got missed or something like that, right? Before we get into any of the fun, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as police, and we certainly don't trust anybody as podcasters, nor does Mike trust anybody because he's now a politician, but we do trust the guys over at Toyota Hackensack. So if you're looking for a car, go to toyotahackensack.com and let them find you a car. So Mike, even same thing as last time. We take a question from our audience. This one comes from Chimezilla. How hard is it to pick yourself up after a defeat, and how do you do it? Now, you're on stage. You are one of the hardest working men I've ever seen in show business. You're on stage constantly, and there will be times when you have a piece of material that killed one night and didn't kill the next night, and somehow it just doesn't land. And I want to find out number one, how that feels, but how do you pick yourself up to go back night after night?
Yeah, it's a great question, because there are nights where you're on automatic pilot. It's almost like you don't even care, and you do your routine verbatim. You have a smile on your face, but in your heart, you're like, you know what? This is not a good night. I'm really not into it. They're really not taking the ride. So let me just put it on autopilot and get out. The next day, you say to yourself, no way, that's not me. I'm not doing that again. I need to redeem myself. I call it redemption. And I go back on stage the next night. Could be the same audience, could be a different audience, more or half and half when you're on a ship entertaining. Some people come back to see another show, depending on how many you do per week. And you turn on the juice and you make it happen. Because there are the nights where it tanks. It's not that often. And for the most part, the audience doesn't even think you're tanking. You do in your own head. And then you just have to wait till the next day and come out on fire somehow. And you tweak. I can't even explain it anymore, because I don't really rehearse off stage like I did. I don't write off stage like I did for most of my life. I write on stage. And writing on stage, let's say on a cruise ship or maybe in a theater, comes from something that might happen to you that day, or maybe an hour before you walk out on stage. And all you have to do is just talk about it. And if it's relatable, the audience just starts laughing. And you could tell, because their body posture will be to their friends, oh, that happened to us. Or to the wife, oh, me and you. And you see it. Then you're like, yeah, no, I got the new topic. So, yeah, you got to redeem yourself constantly.
I've sat in the audience for your shows before, and I think one of the things that you do very, very well is you connect to people. You connect to people on a personal level. If you go to a big comedy show, one of these big names who are selling out arenas, there's no connection. And while they're funny and everything, I think for people to really sit down and enjoy, because you're entertainment, right? to really enjoy that entertainment, they have to feel something. So there's points in your show where you start talking about, you get a couple guys standing behind you after you become president, and you're like, and everybody sees that movie in their head, and they've seen it 100 times, and they're interested in it, and now all of a sudden, they're a part of the show as much as you're telling the story.
What I try to do is make them see the picture, like you just said. So if I say, hey, this is what it would look like. Anthony, Nikki, Joey, Tony, Salvi, Frankie, a couple of guys in tracksuits. I want the audience to go, I could see them. Oh, I could see them. And I'm in a suit. I got pinky rings. Then I say something stupid. Even my mother would be there making macaroni. What? And then I like to act, so I act out the bits.
Yeah, the same thing. But I listen. I don't go do comedy. I go and speak to different audiences, and sometimes I feel that true connection with the audience. And then there's other times where I feel very distant from wherever I am, whatever I'm speaking in front of. Even when I go on different shows, it's the same thing. In my head, when I bomb, and inevitably it'll come out and it'll be a good show and it'll be everything, but I know that I'm just telling, or I'm just selling, and I'm not telling. When I speak, I try to speak from the heart, and certain times I just don't get there. And when I get that moment, I'll just say to myself, oh, man, they don't like me anymore, because it becomes a very egotistical driven industry. But what you got to understand is the reason you feel that way is because you didn't give everything you have to that. You didn't speak from the heart. You spoke from what you remember.
Yep.
And it's just a completely different atmosphere in there. But here's the cool thing. When you go up there again and you redeem yourself, as you said, when you go up there again and you connect to that audience, the notes that you play on that musical instrument become a symphony. And now all of a sudden you're reinvigorated. So the next night you go out there, oh yeah, this is why I do that stuff. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a very addictive feeling. So I get it, man.
What I've been doing a lot lately, especially out on the cruise ships, these new ships are 8,000 people. It doesn't even look real. It looks like a mall. It's bigger than the biggest ships. And I recently did 30 days on a ship. Oof. I never did that before. Didn't know if I was going to like it, but I ended up making a lot of friends. Who's in the jazz club, and you make friends with them. Who's in the water show, you make friends with them. Who's in Ice Capades, you make friends. I was doing my podcast on the ship. I made friends with the captain, the talent coordinator, all the big muckety-mucks. But night after night after night, there's an international audience on the ship. Some people don't even speak English, but they want to see comedy. They want to laugh. And there's something about that Jersey attitude that I have. I guess they're laughing because the audience is laughing, or maybe they feel my attitude because they don't even know what I'm saying. One night I had these 4 guys from Spain. They were coming every night. Finally, I said to the guy, why do you keep coming? And he goes, because our English is really bad, but we like what you're doing. I go, how do you even know what I'm saying? They didn't care. It was just the way I was delivering it. So I started to realize at a late show, if I have a nice glass of wine, I feel a little warm, maybe I don't need to be this big performer. I should just be Michael. And I'm just talking to everybody like we're all at the table, like you and I are talking now. So if somebody gets up to go to the bathroom while I'm performing, instead of rifling into the person or trying to put a heckler to bed, I bring them into the show. And I go like this, oh man, I know what that's like. You didn't know what to do. Should you hold it or should you go? Should you take a risk? Well, why don't you go ahead and go and we'll wait. And then I just stand there and everybody feels like, well, he's a nice guy. No, I actually got laughs. Then when the person comes back and I'm like, you all right? Everything all right? I'm 62. I got a problem now. When I got to go, that's it. I'm leaving. In fact, I'm going right now. And it became different. Yeah. And then people who might have like a bad day or somebody who's going through something, they're going to talk to me about it when I'm done performing, like I have any kind of a therapeutic background that I could help them.
Well, you do.
I really kind of can't. I can only do it in that moment.
You do, because they see you up on stage. They believe that's truly who you are, mm-hmm. But you do. While you're on stage, that is therapy. It's laugh therapy. It gets them out of their own head, even for the briefest of moments. And that's why people come to comedy shows. And even though I'm a little disappointed in how your campaign went, I still, like I always say, hey, you want to see one of the best comedians out there? I go see Mike Marino because he knows his stuff. So Chimezilla, thank you for sending that question in. Keep sending in your questions, and we will try to get them on the air. So Mike, listen, I am well versed in the Italian culture. I know there are some difficulties in being Italian. I'm married to an Italian, and I've sat at those tables, those holiday tables, and I think that's the biggest bunch of suffering that a Metagon can actually, because your ears hurt afterwards. How do you deal with that stuff growing up?
I'll start off by saying how much I miss it.
Yeah.
Because nobody's around anymore. That table is empty. The kids' table is empty. The house is empty. It's cold.
Well, I know since
no more grandma, no grandma, grandpa, no mom and dad, no relatives. Everybody is moved on. And so you think about that. I'd give anything to see my father sitting in the garage smoking a pack of cigarettes after I used to scream at him to stop smoking cigarettes.
I know since the last time you were here, and it's been a couple years since you were here, you have lost your father. But one of the things that I always loved about, especially your social media posts, is you included your father.
My dad.
Yeah, he was there, and he became like this character. Like it's all the late night show hosts have their character. They're off where they break that fourth wall, and it's their off character. And that was your father.
Yeah.
And it was so great to see, because I don't know how he felt about it, but he looked like he just fit there. It was perfect.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would say to me, "Come on, are we making a video?" I did it with my mother, but it was a different time. They didn't have social media. I wish they did then. I would have more videos, but I had hundreds of them with my father. So when we think about the family coming over for, let's say, Thanksgiving,
which is the big one in the Italian household. I think it's bigger than Christmas.
It seems like it's bigger than Christmas. The big part of Christmas would be Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day, not New Year's Eve. The 7 fishes, and everybody would come and they'll go to church and sit down and eat. But let's just say Thanksgiving. My mother would get together with my Aunt Mary, her sister, the night before. Aunt Mary would sleep over. They'd spend the night before Thanksgiving preparing all the different dishes, and they would give the turkey a bath in the kitchen sink. They would wash it. It was the weirdest thing. It looked like a little baby. And then the next day, start cooking it. And the way they would talk to each other in Italian sounded like a fight. It always sounded like they were screaming and they were yelling, they were fighting. But they weren't. They weren't. And I have a cousin who's my Aunt Mary's daughter, Frances. And to this day, she's probably 80, 81. When she calls me, you would think she's yelling at me. They're really not. But it is true to form, because when she calls, you haven't called? You know how long it's been since you called me? What, I don't matter anymore? I don't get this family. That's it. Once I'm gone, that's it. No one else is going to be around. And it sounds like she's yelling, but she's actually making a little bit of a point. I miss you. So let's suppose we all sat down and it was Thanksgiving. We'd have this, my father would have this 4x8 piece of plywood that they put on top of horses that you would, cut wood on. That was the table. And when my mother was done decorating it, it looked like some $1 million table they got at Bed Bath & Beyond. But it wasn't. It was a piece of wood. And then the kids' table, of course, was like some high chair setup thing. And we all sat there sitting next to each other saying, who's going to die so that we can get to the adult table. Because that's the only way to get.
It's the only way to get
has
there.
To pass away for you to bump up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember everybody would yell and scream and talk so loud that when you were a kid, it came a little annoying. But when you became a teenager, of course, you became a little bit of a brat. As soon as you got a little older than that, you missed everybody.
Are you ready to enhance your skills and provide the best care to those who need it the most? I'm Kevin Donaldson.
I'm Sherry Alsop. Our trauma-informed training is here to help, and we've been traveling across the country delivering this essential need to departments and organizations of every size, shape, and makeup.
We come to you with on-site training so you don't have to worry about travel or scheduling conflicts.
This isn't just a class, it's an interactive experience. You'll learn directly from subject matter experts who teach from a victim's point of view, putting you in the shoes of those who have experienced trauma.
This approach allows you to understand trauma on a deeper level and to better serve the individuals you work with.
We'll guide you through new interview techniques that prioritize a victim-centered approach, ensuring safety and empathy in every conversation.
And for those of you in law enforcement or other fields, our training includes post-credits, giving you the extra added value and recognition for your commitment to professional growth.
We offer references upon request to show just how effective our training can be.
Don't miss the opportunity to improve your understanding of trauma and make a real difference in the lives of those you serve. Get in touch with us today by going to sherryalsop.com and let us bring trauma-informed training to your organization.
Together, we can make a lasting impact.
I can still smell, because it was very foreign to me. My family did not do stuff like that. So when I met my wife and she brought me into there, I remember walking in and there was a certain smell into the house, the Thanksgiving cooking smell, and just more food than you could eat in 14 days. Everywhere. Always got to have enough food. Always got to have enough food. You know, did you eat? And then here's the thing. Force you to eat. Oh, you only had 7 plates. Why don't you have another one? Come on, you look like you need some more. So it just was this ongoing thing. But you're right, though. It's nostalgia. It's nostalgia. Now, while you were in it, maybe you didn't appreciate it as much. And I think that's the lesson in all of that.
Thanksgiving in our house was paper plates for everybody. Everybody had the paper plate first. The paper plate was on top of a dish. Paper plate was so that you can have the first course. In Italian, it's antipasto. In English, it's antipasto. I wouldn't even know how to say it. Antipasto.
Antipasta.
Antipasta.
For the rest of the world.
Some people are saying the word charcuterie now. If my mother was alive, she'd stab you with a charcuterie blade. There was no charcuterie. So antipasto was your first course, and it was cheeses of every kind you could think of, meats, like we would say, you know, pepperoni, supersad, and stuff like that. And it was the best. You could fill up on that. You'd be done. And olives.
Gabagool.
Gabagool, of course, capricola. And that's your first course. Basket cheese, mozzarella, or mortadella.
We're actually going to subtitle this episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're going to translate your New Jersey Italian English to just the rest of the country English.
Right. There was also celery. And then when this was all done, my mother would put out this thing called fenouil, which is fennel. We knew it was fenouil because that's the way Mommy said. So when you got older, somebody said, "Oh, that's fennel." You said, "What's a fennel?" Fenouil. We know how to pronounce things in Italian. So it's like a leaf, and you dip it in oil with pepper. This was supposed to clean your palate for your next plate. That was the palate cleaner, like lemon ice maybe.
Yeah.
But it didn't really clean your palate. It made you taste garlic. Then another round would come out, and it would be raviolis and meatballs. This is before the turkey came out.
Yeah.
So if we had raviolis, meatballs, braciole, pepperoni would be in the sauce as well. We called it gravy. Who would need anything else? Who would eat anything else? And then the turkey. So when the turkey came out, it came out with, the stuffing. Our stuffing had sausage in it. If it had raisins in it, my mother would throw you out of the house.
How about celery? Was it you a celery household?
Celery, yeah.
Ah, man,
not in the
in the stuffing.
No.
So celery in the stuffing's a big no.
No, I didn't see that. No. Now here's this turkey, with the gravy, and all the fixings and potatoes. Who's eating? Who could eat any of this? We used to laugh. Like, why did we do that?
Every year.
And it would sit. And everybody would have as much as they possibly could. But you waited. Football game's on. Something else to do. So it sat. And everybody left the table. Relaxed. Fell asleep. Round 2. Go get the turkey. Then go get the turkey. And they would eat it this way. And then when they were done, here comes all the desserts.
The desserts, forget it. I mean, The desserts almost outweigh everything that you said about the pre-turkey meal happens with the desserts. And then you got to have some frangelico, and then you got to have this one, and there's always love knots there. And like there's those Italian staples in there. But I got to ask you a question. Did you have that uncle that sat in the other room, the TV room, because the TV room was always separate, who just wouldn't stop passing gas?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Uncle Tommy.
It was Uncle Tony. It was Uncle Tony.
You had an Uncle Tony?
Oh, my God. Dude, he would blow up the room and you see people running out, and he's sitting in his own filth. I mean, what are you doing?
Oh, my uncle did it at the table. My Uncle Tommy, that's what started me in stand-up. I used to impersonate him all the time. He'd sit at the head of the table, and he would go like this. All right, you got to let the one button out now. And they take out the belt and make sure that we have everything before the football game starts. Otherwise, we're going to miss everything. And then he would go like this. Hey. Well, what am I supposed to do? Huh? You made the deviled eggs.
You made your bed, now lie in it and sleep in it. Yeah. But you know, Italians, they people don't realize that Italians have not always been, you know, now in modern day, Italian is like a mythological creature.
Yeah.
All right, it is. You know, especially from New Jersey or New York metropolitan area, let's say. They're like a mythical creature. Everywhere I go, one of the ways I tell people where I'm from, I'm from where The Sopranos were filmed. Right? And that's how I'm identified. It's getting harder now because Sopranos is getting pretty old. But they're fascinated by the mob culture, the Italian culture, all these different things. But it wasn't like that. Like there was a time growing up around Italians. There was a time where Italians weren't looked at very favorably. They were a lower class citizen. As a matter of fact, you know, don't judge me on this one, but when I was a kid, we used to hear a lot of Polish jokes, right? And basically what a Polish joke is you're making fun of somebody's intelligence, even though I have friends who are Polish who are very intelligent. So it's you can't take it personally. But I used to go home and tell them to my grandfather. And my grandfather, oh, I heard that one too in World War II, but it was an Italian joke. So Italians were the butt of people's jokes. What they've done now is they've actually co-opted that atmosphere and they've used it to their power. So that's something I always loved. Did you ever feel that growing up that, you know, you came from hard times when Italians started migrating to this country?
We didn't know we were broke. We thought we were rich. So my mother had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. They're all from Italy. When they came over to the United States, I guess you're looking at the early 1900s, and they were happy. 2-bedroom apartment in a building in Jersey City. We thought we were the greatest.
Control the mothers always controlled the money.
Yeah,
and they were good at it.
Mm-hmm. You wonder where she even got it.
Yeah, they always had enough. You know,
Yeah.
they always had enough because, especially first greenhorns, right? So greenhorns is a term that was used for first generation coming in, specifically Italians mostly, and the greenhorns were really good at self-discipline and self-control. They could if their husbands earned $100 a week, well, they could stretch that $100. You know, they'll squeeze a quarter to the eagle screams, which is my favorite line in one of it's in Gotti. Armand Assante says it. They were amazing at it. So what Italians did, and one of the reasons I appreciate Italians is they came to this country, they embraced the American dream, and they made the most out of what they had. They never, you know, I'm sure they wanted for things, but they saw what was in front of them and they dealt with that. And that is something that is really appreciative.
My mother and father would speak fluent Italian in front of the 3 boys, 3 kids. I got 2 brothers. And always said to us, don't speak Italian, you're American. So we don't speak Italian.
That's one.
A lot of people ask all the time, why do so many Italians, second generation in New Jersey or New York, they don't speak Italian? Because we were told not to. We assimilated. That's why, quite honestly, when I hear certain languages while I'm walking around somewhere, let's say you get picked up in an Uber and the language is completely different, and even the phone telling them where to go is speaking another language, I'm like, come on. I couldn't even tell this guy once, you're passing my exit. He didn't even know what I meant. Whereas then, you were petrified to speak another language.
Right.
So we don't, and we didn't. I wish I did.
You picked up, I'm sure you have all the curse words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing you learn.
Also, the names of food. I never knew manigot was manicotti until I went to California and I said, yeah, I want to get some manigots. They're like, what? I'm like, am I wrong?
My boys are half Italian, half Irish, but they say the galamad, they say all the mozzarella, and they say all that stuff. But whenever we go somewhere, I think we were in Myrtle Beach. My son wanted fried calamari, and I call it calamari because I'm not Italian, and he said galamad. The waitress looked at him like he had three heads. It was actually comical. It was a comical thing, but it's the overcoming hardship of Italians has always, I guess that's what endears us because it's a bygone era, and that's why I think people are so interested in mob movies and the mob culture because it talks about a bygone era, an era of honor.
It's also an era of people struggling and doing really well in their realm of life. When my uncle used to sit at the table, we thought he was the greatest. We thought he was rich. He had false teeth. And I remember being like, 8, 9, and we'd sit at the table and he'd move his teeth from side to side and the kids would scream in terror. I say, my Uncle Tommy took his teeth out. No, he didn't. It's a trick. But he did. He just wanted to scare the kids. And those are great memories.
Yeah.
Then he'd say things that were hilarious and you really didn't know what he meant. But when you got older, you understood what he was saying. So he used to say all the time, now that your Uncle Tommy's done having dinner, I need a piece of chocolate. And your mother hides the chocolate from you kids because she don't want you to have it. So which one of these cabinets has the chocolate? Because she probably put it up in the air because you can't reach. And she did. And he found it. And I remember he says, okay, give me the piece of the chocolate. Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting on the toilet counting tile. I go, what? He goes, well, yeah, you have the chocolate. It pushes everything through. So basically, he's saying, I'm constipated. Give me a piece of chocolate. You don't really realize that till you get older. But that's what he was saying. And he got the chocolate.
Italians have this weird way of communicating, like you were saying with your aunt, telling you that she misses you in a very, backhanded way, type of guilt-ridden thing. It's communication through allegorical comments. It's, hey, I guess I don't matter to you. It's, hey, I need a piece of chocolate because I can't go to the bathroom. And it's a culture that I really, really understand. But you going on in your career, embracing this culture, because it sounds like to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the way you grew up was a atmosphere filled with love and family, and there you have all these really, really good memories. And I watched how you interacted with your dad, and I'm sure there was bad times. I'm sure there was there was bad times. But now looking back, it's something that's gone. That you somehow have to try to relay this experience to others. And you took it full force, and that's how you developed your comedy career and your acting career, by buying into that stuff. How effective do you think you are getting that stuff out on stage about your Italian heritage?
Every culture has family. And sometimes just talking about your own, other people will identify it, even if they're from a completely different culture, because everybody has family. When I first started doing stand-up, I really just talked about my uncle and the way my mother would talk. So let's suppose my mother made that whole big Thanksgiving dinner. We all knew when it was all said and done and everybody started to say goodbye and they would get in their cars, my mother would go, this is it. I'm not doing it no more. Next year, somebody else should take a turn and have Thanksgiving at their house so that they can clean, so that they can cook, and they can put Tupperware out and take home this is it. I'm not doing it no more. I've had enough. When your mother dies, that's it. You're never going to have Thanksgiving again. You kids are going to marry Americans. You're never going to know. And it happened. And I turned that into a stand-up routine. My mother would say, this is it. This is the last time I'm cooking. And I would say my mother's greatest ancestor was back in biblical times and said, this is the Last Supper. Because they were Italian, and that's why they stopped eating. She had enough. Paint a picture. I'm not doing it. That's how they painted the picture of the Last Supper, because the mother said, I ain't cooking no more. And you can make it a joke. So it's one of my favorite jokes. And I own the house I grew up in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Now, we just taped this brand new special, but the beginning of the special that was created by this director, Dan Cotullo, who produced it as well. And he took all these clips of me when I was a teenager with my family, going to high school, playing the drums, being in drama club. And that's the entrance to the show. So even if you don't watch me perform, even if you're not from the town, even if you're not from New Jersey, it's going to tug on your heart because everybody's going to go, oh man, I remember it was so much fun being in high school. Oh, if I could only go back to a time where I didn't have no responsibilities, I could do whatever I want. We even had the marching band as my opening act.
of the high school.
The real high school marching band. They're like, now they're 14, 15-year-old kids, and they went in there and they played. It was hilarious.
So I remember when you were filming it, I think I was traveling because I wanted to come, not only for support, but I enjoy your show. I think I've seen you three times now. And each time I come, and I've heard a lot of the same stuff, but it doesn't matter because your delivery every time is something new and something different. Kind of goes back to that social media question, the way you connect to your audience. But I know you've been in the business for so long. You know, I mean, you got 40 years?
Well, I'm 62. I really started doing performing as an actor when I was 13.
Oh, geez.
New York City.
You're going on 50 years. Damn.
Yeah. Junior high, high school plays. Started doing TV commercials in New York. I was probably 13. Got in the Screen Actors Guild around 14, 15 years old. So, yeah, I've been doing this a long time.
You've seen the darkness of that industry.
I still do.
You see the darkness. And let me give you full transparency. Mike has become a very good friend of mine. Occasionally, we don't talk a lot, but occasionally we'll talk. If I hit a pitfall on something or something that's brand new to me, I kind of lean into your experience. I kind of lean into you. Hey, Mike, what do you think about this stuff? Like, where have you experienced this stuff? How did you navigate this stuff? And, you know, you've always been great counsel to me. And you don't have to. You don't know me from Adam, but you don't have to. And it's sad because the more I see about the entertainment business, the more it's a disgusting business.
It is.
And I try to surround myself with people who ground me. You know, like Tom sitting in the control room out there. I'll ask him a question because I know he's going to give me a real answer. And you, if I have a question about something that's going on, I know you're going to give me a real answer. So what are some of the dark things that you've seen? I'm always curious about this stuff.
Well, of course, it's not fair. You could be an unbelievable performer, and you can have somebody performing with you that's not half the man you are. And for some reason or other, they get more than you. This whole thing is based on luck, I think. But the lies people tell, and it's just... I know I told you before we sat down how I'm being lied to constantly. And I started to say to myself, I got to try to stop trying to figure out why people do what they do, because it drives me nuts. I mean, if you actually told me the truth, I tell people all the time, just tell me the truth and we're going to rock. We're going to kick ass. We're going to make money. We're going to do shows. It's going to be big, but just tell me the truth. And they'll lie. They'll lie. I'll tell you this as most recently, somebody lied to me about a show I was getting ready to do in Chicago. Now, I've been to Chicago many times. I know everybody out there. I know the guy who owns the theater. I know the guy who owns the sponsorship team, everything. I know everybody. I've been out there time and time again. So they said to me, hey, get a couple of opening acts. And I says, okay, well, who do you want on the show? And they'll say, well, why don't you get a couple of local guys in Chicago and you could put them on the show? And I says, okay, I'll do that. But then you have like an agent that gets involved and says, you really should bring this person and this person. And you say, well, why would I do that? Well, you know, the guy who owns the theater really likes them. And he said he'd pick up the tab. And I go, okay, so that guy is going to fly these two people from New Jersey to Chicago. He's going to pay for their airfare. They're going to get put up in a hotel. He's going to pay for the hotel for 3 days and 3 nights. Then he's going to pay them to do the performance as my opening act. And they say, yes. And I go, well, why don't you send me the contract? I need to read that. And you never get it. And before you know it, you call your contact and say, hey, are you paying for these people? And you hear, why would I do that? You're like, oh. You mean you're not? No, why would I do that? I told you get some local people. Why would I spend $3,000 on 2 people from New Jersey when I can spend $200 with 2 people here in Chicago? And then you call and say, why would you do that? Well, he said, no, you're lying. You're actually lying. I know you're lying. Because they don't know that you know everybody. And I had this one comedian who kept telling me, he goes, yeah, the guy's going to pay me to come in. And I go, no kidding, that guy's going to pay you. This one particular show, you're going to fly from Brooklyn, New York to Chicago. And I says to the guy, I've gotten you a lot of work as a comedian. I've put in a lot of money in your pocket. I just need you to tell me the truth on this one because there's a problem. Did he really say he's going to pay for you? And he goes, well, we're going to talk about it. I'm like, you mother. You mother. And you catch them. But they don't really believe they did anything wrong. They actually feel like they're right. So now, let's not be concerned about any of that anymore because I don't care. I'm not going to let it happen to me no more. But I'm starting to lose my mind. Everybody's lying.
The problem with you is your schedule dictates your annual income because whether people believe it or not, you're a human being. You have bills to pay. This is how you make your living. This is your vocation.
Yep.
And when you book a date and that person doesn't do what they honor their contract with you or whatever verbal agreement with you, that takes money out of your pocket. Okay, because if they don't hold that, you're not going to do that date. That date's been blocked off. You're not going to get anything real quick. And next thing you know, you don't make your money, which is a horrible, horrible disservice. But I think a lot of these people lie because that's just what they're used to. That's all they know how to do. I'm not making excuses for it.
You know, I guess now at my age, I got to cut my circle down even smaller and smaller and smaller.
Did you ever have this one where you do your best, and you've always been real good at trying to bring young comedians up and give them a shot? I've watched you do it. And where that person now tries to climb over you?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every single night.
Really?
It's sad. I have to say to them sometimes, okay, listen, I'm going to give you this opportunity. But here's what you're going to do. Just perform. Don't talk to the powers that be. You don't talk to my agent. You don't talk to my manager. Don't talk to the producer. Don't say. And if it's a charity and some guy said, oh, you did a great show, we'd love to have you back, just say thanks. Don't try to be the new guy. And they all do. They all do. I just did a charity. And while I was on stage, the guy who put the show together was like, man, this is great. We're having such a good time. We'll have to have you guys back. And he goes, well, here's my number. And I go, you just broke the rule. You're not supposed to do that because now he's going to talk to you and you don't know what I just negotiated. You don't know how I got here. And if he hires you and he doesn't call me or you don't call me, you're an opening act. Now look what you did. Then you're going to come back here. You'll perform. I won't be around. I won't know about it. And they're going to look at you like, you stink.
And somehow that, the chance effect is somehow that might reflect on you. Well,
oh, yeah.
You brought this guy into the circle.
Oh, yeah.
So you sort of own him for the rest of your life. Because I know there's some people, you had told me, and I want to stay away from names, that were opening acts for you that have elevated.
Oh, yeah.
That have elevated. But they elevated in some unethical ways.
Sure. There's always going to be a comedian going to steal a joke. They're going to steal a contact. They're going to say that they knew that you weren't available, so they took it from there. Oh, yeah, it's nasty. It's dirty.
You know, and when you see it from the inside out, it becomes less glossy. Because when you were a kid, you know, stand up, I loved. When I was a kid, I just lived in half-hour comedy hour. You remember that on it? I think it was MTV, half-hour comedy hour.
Yeah, sure.
I loved that. I watched that religiously, and I thought stand-up was something. It's one of those things that I always wanted to try. I just wanted to give a shot, but I'm not funny. I'm not quick-witted. It's just not my wheelhouse. But I always wanted to try it. It's one of those things that are real scary to me. But I'm looking at things from the back end now, and I'm like, I don't know whether I want to do that again.
Well, being the master of ceremonies is a totally different thing. It's a corraler. It's the person who gets everybody to pay attention to the surprise that you have in your pocket, which is the next few comedians. So if you're doing public speaking and you add some humor to your public speaking, that makes you an incredible master of ceremonies. So let's suppose you're doing your thing and somebody gets up to go to the bathroom. You can acknowledge it and get a laugh.
I do. It's usually cell phone use.
Yeah, a cell phone.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the phone these days.
I'll go up and take a selfie with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, let's take a selfie. You're on the phone anyway. Why not? Let's just open it up and talk to whoever you want to talk to. And, listen, it kind of puts people on notice in a very non-confrontational way. But Jim Brewer actually was talking about something. I was watching an interview with him, and he was talking about Saturday Night Live. And he said the culture in Saturday Night Live is incredibly toxic. Like, it's a high-level comedic area. He said, if you write a bit and you submit a bit for Saturday Night Live, even if they don't use it, Saturday Night Live owns it. You can't use it anymore.
Right. That's
crazy to me. And people steal shit all the time. The high writers will steal the lower writers' stuff. That's because it's intellectual property. That is your, that is your car. That is something that belongs to you. It's something that you created. But here's the one thing with me. So with this show, I know there's some people who have tried to replicate this show. And when Mike was alive, he would sit and we would find out about it. And they're friends of ours. They're friends of ours that are trying to completely replicate what we're doing. And he would get all pissed off. He was like, they're stealing our stuff. They're stealing our stuff. I'm like, just relax. They may try to do what we do, but they can't do what we do. We do what we do. It's our thing. So, and every time they fall flat on their face. So, the one saving grace with you is if nobody can do what you do or how you do it. So they may try, but I think all that stuff comes out in the wash. And it's why you've been around for 50 years.
When I was in my 30s, I was doing sketch comedy on The Tonight Show. That's how you saw the picture with me and Jay Leno. I must have did hundreds of skits on the show. I never did stand-up on the show. I was a sketch player. I got on the show because someone saw me doing stand-up, so I thought I was going to do stand-up on The Tonight Show. But I was never considered a stand-up. I was considered an actor. So one day I went down to go do a taping, and the casting director called me and goes, Mike, wait till you see the jokes that they're going to do in this skit. It's an Italian lifeguard via the Jersey Shore, like Baywatch. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, this is perfect for you. Come on down. So I go down, and the two writers turned white. And I go, what's the matter? And they go, oh, well, here's the script. Here's the script. And there was a girl and another guy. And I read the script, and I go, this is my act. This isn't a scene. This is my act. I do Italians on Baywatch. And turns out that they had seen me at the Comedy Store at a show called The Night of 1,000 Guidos, when all the Italian comedians were performing, even Andrew Dice Clay and Joe Rogan, Joe Diaz. They were all in this particular show. Sebastian Maniscalco. I have all of this on tape. This is when we were in our 30s. So I go down there, and the guy goes, yeah, this is the joke. And I go, but that's not a joke. That's my act. I did that act on stage. You guys went to A Night of 1,000 Guidos. And the guy goes, yeah, but now they're going to do your joke on television. I go, no, it's going to look like they wrote it. They couldn't believe the casting director actually hired the guy they robbed, not knowing I was the same guy. And you should have seen their face.
You wouldn't have found that out for weeks or sometimes months or maybe never.
If they didn't cast me, I never would have known.
Yeah.
But when I went to go do the taping, I mean, it was like 3 days later. So we go to do the taping, and, here's me in the scene, and they played the scene. And a lot of people called me and go, wow, they did your bit on The Tonight Show. I'm like, wow. They got the credit. I got my $300.
Now, am I wrong in when Joe Rogan is a big advocate for comedic material, right? And whether that's real or whether that's a persona, I don't know. But he called out Carlos Mencia
Yeah.
for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the audience?
I was.
I thought so.
Yeah.
You were in the audience when that went down.
Yeah.
As somebody who
I think I was next.
you were next. Oh,
Yeah, well,
follow that shit.
We all played the Comedy Store at that time. The guy Ari Shaffir that really
Ari's funny.
Was buddies with Joe Rogan. He was working the door at that time. He worked there, and there was this other guy, James, Fat James. He was working the door. They parked cars. I was up and coming. Joe Diaz was there. That's how they all became friends with each other. But I didn't know Carlos Mencia as a guy who stole jokes. I didn't really know Carlos. He was performing, and Joe was in the back of the room, and of course, that's what happened. But it looked like he did. He probably did take a bunch of jokes from some other people.
Well, he took
and
Ari's
they call him
bit.
out.
He took Ari's bit.
Yeah.
Almost verbatim.
Oh, right.
Almost verbatim, because they played them side by side. And then there was a whole thing with Bobby Lee was friends with Carlos Mencia, and there was a whole thing. I think Carlos went on Bobby's podcast and sort of tried to defend himself, but he didn't. He didn't defend himself. He actually did a really horrible job. Now, fast forward, I got a friend of mine. He was his father was a cop in the same local union that I was in, and his son was just starting out. And I got him hooked up with Artie Lang, Artie took him on a couple tours. But then he got hooked up with Carlos Mencia. And this was after the whole thing blew up with Carlos. Kid's name's Kevin Dombrowski. And I remember looking at Kevin. I called him up. I'm like, Kevin, dude, just be careful, man. Just be real careful. This guy doesn't have a good reputation and all that stuff. How real? I see you have experience on that, and you just told all those experience. Like you hear the stuff, you don't believe it. I guess it's true. Nobody thinks of anything original anymore. They just find some random comedian. Hey, that's funny. I'm going to go use that. That's crazy.
It's probably worse now than it's ever been because everybody's on social media. So you can get a bunch of people who've never told a joke in their life. They'll watch a stand-up comedian and videotape themselves doing the joke in a scene or whatever, put it up on social media, and it looks like it's theirs.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they got it from somebody.
So social media might be good in that aspect.
Calling people out, but probably not.
No. So if you do a joke on social media, there's video digital blueprint on that. You take somebody like Shane Gillis who got jammed up because of a podcast he did years earlier, and he said something inappropriate. So they have that digital footprint to go back where you actually have, if you were to do it on stage and nobody saw it, and it wasn't on video, it wasn't anything, and somebody's sitting in the audience, well, there's 30 people and they're not going to remember. So you didn't have the backup. But if you do something on social media, there's a footprint there. Mm-hmm. And you actually have something to go back and say, no, this person's stealing my bit. Here's my original bit said before they said it. Is there any legal repercussions to that?
No, not in stand-up.
Really?
Not really, no. Unless you trademark certain things. So I actually own Make America Italian Again. Now, people could say it. People can impersonate me. But if you made a T-shirt that said Make America Italian Again, I'd come get you.
Really?
And I've had the trademark for quite some time. So the company out of Chicago, Hardcore Italians, has a clothing line. They called me and said, we'd like to make some T-shirts, some sweatshirts, and some banners that say Make America Italian Again. I'm like, well, I'm really glad you called me because you can't. But you guys called me because you knew you couldn't. So let's do business. And so now I get a commission on whatever it is that they sell that says Make America Italian Again. And then I promote their clothing line. That's why I always wonder, why do people have to lie? We all told the truth. We're making money.
They're making money.
It was easy.
They're making money. You're making money off of something that you created. And that's how the world should go. Listen, if I got an opportunity where there was something, this is big hypothetical, where it would be something for you. Well, Mike's my friend. Hey, Mike, talk to these people, please.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that you would be interested in. And I think that's how the world goes around. So when I do that for people, and when I suggest, say, listen, why don't you go talk to this person? I never ask for anything in return. I don't want anything in return because I believe the good karma comes around. So has good karma come around with you in this business?
Sometimes, fewer than most. I did recently introduce a famous actor to an up-and-coming actor who was producing a movie, and they exchanged cell phones because of me. I won't mention any names. And now they're doing a movie together. And I thought I would have gotten a phone call from either one of them just to say, hey, look what we're doing.
Thanks.
But they didn't. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I've run into that a couple times. There was a show out in LA, and they were looking to cast me in something, and they say, so after the audition, they said, do you know anybody that does this, this, and this? I'm like, well, yes, I do. And I gave them the information, and they did that show and they didn't do mine. I'm like, you motherfucker, just a son of a bitch. And it's the way that it goes. But I did say something. I do have the guts to actually say, hey, kind of feel a little used here. You didn't even get me an Uber ride home. So there's a dark side. And then there's people who that are in your inner circle. And I don't know how close your inner circle is or who's even in your inner circle, but there's people in your inner circle that you become suspicious of them. It kind of jades you to people. Is that something that you deal with?
Yeah. I almost feel like I don't even have a circle anymore. I got a little tiny square, and it's smaller than the circle.
I got 3 people.
Yeah.
All right. Those 3 people don't want anything from me. They don't ask me for anything. And out of gratitude for them, I try to give them as much as I possibly can, because I know that I have to be grateful. I don't take anything for free. I never do. But they don't want anything from me. It's a weird relationship. It's one of the first times in my life where people just don't want anything. Those people just don't want anything. But most of the time, it's a very vulture-like mentality. It's, hey, Mike's doing great things here. Let me see what I can sponge off of him. Now, you're going back to your Italian roots. How did your family? Because I firmly believe with a good foundation, you can overcome a lot of these difficulties. You can overcome a lot of these problems that you're having currently and in the past. Like, for instance, what would your father say if he found out somebody was stealing your jokes? Because I'm sure you've had that discussion with him.
Yeah. He would say, don't talk to them no more. Stay away.
Stay away. That would be like you're his boy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he wants to protect you, even to his dying day, that he wanted to protect you. Because you saw people sitting around in the culture you grew up in, you saw people sitting around this table full of love. They just love getting together. There wasn't a transactional relationship. And now you're in a business where it's completely a transactional relationship.
Yes.
So it's counterproductive to what you came up with. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things to overcome. So
it is.
How did that prepare you? How did growing up like that prepare you for how you deal with people today?
It almost didn't prepare you, because you didn't know you were going to get so lied to when you got into showbiz. When I was, I would say, 17, 18, I booked this TV commercial. It was join the Navy, see the world. And then there was this other one for United Airlines, and I played a Marine. And it's a long story, because the agent told me I would never work. But I got this particular job, and that whole agency signed me. When the commercial came out, most people thought I was a Marine. I was just an actor playing the role of a Marine. So this big shot guy at this agency, he says, I got you an audition for Full Metal Jacket. They already know who you are. You're going to go meet the director. Now, I never got a part in the movie. But before the commercial came out, everybody knew about the auditions for Full Metal Jacket, including another agent I was with. So after I went to the reading and they met me, coming from a completely different agent, I went to go drop by the guy who said he was doing everything he can to get me the audition. And I walked in there and I said to him, hey, listen, did you hear from the casting people at Full Metal Jacket? And he goes, well, 2 of my clients got an audition and I'm still working it. I'm still trying to get you in. And I go, well, I just came from there. And I met the director.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yes. I was 18. And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, they all saw me on the TV commercial, and they said the kid's perfect to play one of the Marines. So J. Michael Bloom Agency got me the audition, and I walked in. And I asked the casting director, did he get a submission from you? And he said, no. He doesn't even know who I am. He just knows J. Michael Bloom called. And that's how I got it. So you lied. And he goes, well, I just don't think you're ready. And I go, so you did lie. And that's the way it all kept on going. So what did he get out of lying?
He lost a client.
Lost a client. He probably thought I was never going to work anyway. And that happens. So when I started doing stand-up and people would lie to me, I would say to people, you know how I do these jokes about being connected? What if I really was?
Nice.
What if it wasn't a joke? What if I really was a nut and I had somebody come talk to you? So to me, I'm still baffled by all these people lying. Because, I mean, I would tell a lie if I knew I was going to get something, maybe. What am I going to get? But these people get nothing when they lie. It actually ruins everything for everybody.
Well, I think the way you've been doing things currently, being on the up and up, being the oddball in the entertainment industry has served you well.
Mm-hmm.
So, while you are not, where you think that you earned, and you have, you can look yourself in the mirror. These guys someday are going to fall, and when they fall, they're going to fall hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fall from the top. It hurts a lot worse.
Oh, I can't wait to see them fall. I will kick you when you're down. Coming to get you.
Well, you can verbally castrate people on stage.
I can.
Yeah. And that's a very powerful weapon. That's more powerful than a gun.
I tell people all the time while I'm performing, you could talk to me if you want to, but I will gun you down. So do you want the challenge? And most of them take it. And then they go home all upset. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry I ruined your night, but you asked for it.
Yeah.
I told you. This is all I do. You think you're going to beat me verbally after 32 years of doing this every night of the week? What makes you think I'm not ready to verbally assault? Usually I read body posture, and I could tell what's going on in somebody's world.
See, to me, I think that is the biggest disrespect to the audience when somebody chimes up and wants to become part of the show.
Yeah.
It's the biggest I like going to a comedy show because I'm there to see Mike Marino, and I want Mike Marino to make me laugh. Okay? That's what I want. I didn't come here to see Joe Blow in the front row who's got a few too many drinks in him, who's trying to become part of the show. I didn't see that. Like, dude, shut the hell up. Let me enjoy the show. I'm here for Mike. I'm not here for you. I never understood that. I'm just going to sit and watch you. All right? Because that's what I paid for. So, Mike, listen, we are coming to the end of this thing here. Where can our audience find you? Tell us some upcoming dates. What do you have coming up? Because I always like throwing that stuff out.
All my social media, from Instagram to LinkedIn to, it's not Twitter or Twitter,
X.
ZX, TikTok, it's all at Mike Marino Live. And my website, which has all my tour dates, is mikemarino.net.
And you're playing somewhere tomorrow, correct? So today is October 8th. Did I see the 9th or the 10th?
Yes, October 9th. I'm at, it's a fundraiser. It's called the October Fest. I don't know 100%. Hope Fest. But it's at the Deutscher Club in Clark, New Jersey. That's tomorrow night. And my opening act is my brother Paul, the Paul Marino Band. I have a band open for me. I have a
You going to hop on the
host.
drums?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the drums with my brother. That's fun for me. Yeah. I just want to have some fun. And the audience starts laughing. They're like, what's he doing? And Frankie Ann is going to be with me. And then Saturday night, so this is good for you. Saturday night, Bound Brook Arts Center in Bound Brook, New Jersey. It's open to anyone who's a police officer, fireman, EMT, whoever wants to come to see the show. Say the word meatballs. Meatballs at the door, and you get in for free. You're
always willing to step up and help a cause, especially one that you believe in. You've always been a great friend to me, and you've always been a great mentor to me. But I end the show the same way. I ended your first episode the same way. I ended this episode. And I'm trying to figure out how I can land this one, because there is you can always get some beauty out of the ashes. You have grown up this lifestyle that people just read about in books and watch in movies now. It doesn't even really exist that much anymore. And then coming on to your career of this entertainment life and making a living at it, which is incredibly difficult in and of itself, but you've made it work for 50 years. And you've seen the good, you've seen the bad, and you've seen the ugly, and you certainly suffered through the whole thing. But it had to teach you something. So what do you think that suffering, especially in the business that you're in, has taught you most?
I'm still nice to people. I'm still nice to people.
And I'm so glad that you are. And I if I could encourage you one thing, don't let the darkness overtake you, my friend.
No, I can't.
You can.
I won't.
It's.
We get to talk like this, make you feel good.
Yeah.
I feel great now.
That's what the therapy session is.
Yeah, it's a therapy session.
Mike, whatever you're doing, please let me know. My platform is your platform, because that's how I can. That's the best way I can show my gratitude for you. Your friendship has meant a lot to me.
Well, we'll have you back down the basement.
Yeah, anytime. I love that. You got the whole setup there. You got the pizzas there and everything. It's beautiful. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast, The Suffering of Being Italian with Mike Marino. And let's think about all the stuff that we learned. Family goes, but memories seem to grow stronger. Italians are one of the most resilient people that I've ever seen in my life. Don't forget, there's a dark side to every business. But as Mike Marino said, and this is the most important thing I want everybody to take away from this, even though people do you wrong, still be nice to people. And that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to go to popple.com, put in the code TSP20 for a 20% discount on your digital business card. Follow us on all social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, OnlyFans. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson, and of course, follow the Suffering Podcast, and we're going to see you on the next episode.